Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to White Dads Can't Jump here with the main man, Chad. How's it going?
Good, good. How you doing today?
Good. How is the running swimming challenge treating us?
Swimming.
Let me tell you a little something.
When you hit the age that we hit, certain things start to go a little faster than you thought they would. And in my case, I
Boy,
guess we could call it swimming
buoyancy.
shoulder, swimming shoulder.
Oh, okay.
So I got a little bit of a click in the shoulder there. So
Click's no good.
I've been running a little bit here and there, not consistently. The plan is tomorrow morning to get up and get back on that.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, well, listen, it was Father's Day, so I think you deserved a moment to take, a day off and breathe. What'd you end up doing for Father's Day?
I had quite the weekend, let me tell you.
All right.
So not a Father's Day. Part one of my weekend was not Father's Day. Part one is I went to a showing of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, but I watched it with a live orchestra and chorus. So I
Oh,
don't know if you've ever done something like that.
no.
So they have the movie playing, but they take away the soundtrack, and the soundtrack is provided by the live orchestra.
So is it okay? The movie. First of all, I love going to the movie. I know some people are like, "Oh, I can watch it in my living room." In my opinion, I was a sound guy all the
Mm-hmm.
way through. Literally starting in middle school, all the way through high school. I was obviously the most popular because I was a sound guy. And
Hey, let's go hang out with the audio file.
right, exactly. He can he can diss our music taste. Um, so I love going to the theaters because obviously the engineered sound in there is amazing. So with that being said, how does it compare? Like going to, the full IMAX experience movie versus hearing it live, is there a big differential?
Well, it's in a proper theater, as in like a performance center, not a movie theater.
Right.
So it's built differently. The acoustics are different. Obviously, the speakers are set in a different spot. Um, but I mean, it's different, obviously. And what's they put the subtitles on because the music obviously is going to play louder than
Oh, sure.
the audio. Because if they boosted that too much, then you're just like playing against each other. So there were some parts where it was a little hard to hear, so they had the subtitles on there to help you out. But I mean, it's not cinematic. I wouldn't call it
Okay.
cinematic.
Yeah.
No,
But it's an
it's
interesting experience.
yeah, it's an experience for sure. It's one that I would definitely do again. I would be very curious to see it in something. Obviously, it's got to be an epic type movie where they have like the big crescendo type music and whatnot.
I'm going to assume, and I'm just taking a shot in the dark here, that there was at least one wizard in the crowd.
So, so when we got there, we were. I went with a friend of mine, and we were waiting for another person to meet us, and someone coat checked their sword.
Of course, as you do,
Their
entering the
elvish,
theater.
elven sword, one that
Right.
showed up like Legolas, and then yeah, there was everybody was there. Legolas was there, Gandalf was there, the hobbits, you name it. Because when we got there, we went to a 1 o'clock showing, and we said, I don't know what to expect here. Are people gonna be dressed up for like a night out? Are people gonna be dressed up like Comic Con?
Right.
And it was both.
Did you ask any of them if there was bad traffic coming from their mom's house into the theater that day, or?
No, they didn't have a lot of suntan. I will tell you that. It was a lot
Yeah.
of very pasty
Right.
skin.
Right. That yeah.
Yeah,
That is called Call of Duty, my friend.
right. And it looked like a lot of friend zones were happening.
Technically, she is a woman, but we are not
Right.
here in anything other than a platonic capacity.
Exactly. Yeah. So there was a
Yeah.
lot of that. So that was
Okay.
part A of
Yeah.
my
We're just warming up.
yeah. And then my wife and daughter met me in Orlando, and then we went to Universal
Your
for
fave.
Saturday night. Yeah. So it was a perfect Chad weekend. Really couldn't have gotten any better.
It was all chat all the time.
It was great. Yeah.
So,
I could do it every week.
were there any new or interesting moments at Universal this time? Because we know you told us about the Epic. You saw Epic. You gave us your review. Did you hit
Yeah.
Epic this time?
No, no,
Oh,
absolutely not. No, we stuck to the original. No, it was good. Yeah, nothing new, but always exciting.
okay. Good. Um,
Always good. How about
I
you? What'd the family do? Let me guess. She took you to T-Mobile for 4 hours to get a new phone?
so the inside joke there is that was until this year when Chad ruined it by going out of town. Our annual Father's Day tradition was us all, his
That
family
was
and my
Mother's Day.
family. Oh,
Mother's
that was
Day,
Mother's
even better.
Day. You're right. You're right. Oh, yeah. Okay. So remember the marriage advice we gave a couple episodes back? here's a
Don't
little
spend 4 hours at T-Mobile on Mother's Day.
here's a little addendum to that. They have no sense of humor about that. Anyways, you're right. That was Mother's Day. So, anyways, no, we went to a brunch with about 15 other people. Families.
1,500.
15 other.
Oh, I was like, oh my gosh, that's very
Yeah.
intimate.
Just a
I
small
said, what was
affair.
it at the Hampton Inn?
Right. Yeah, there were swords. So we went and it was fun. I would say that the funniest moment was when the hostess was showing off her napkins, and
Oh,
these were tie-dye rainbow napkins that,
okay,
and I'm going to misquote it, but said something to the effect of like, "Don't hate, just appreciate."
okay.
And they were like, and she said, "I got these for Gay Pride Week." I said, "Well, they celebrate for an entire month, but that was very nice of you."
Yeah, hopefully she had 30 of them.
Right, exactly.
What was at the
So
brunch? What is that? Let me French toast type
it felt
thing.
it felt like Easter. There was
Oh,
ham,
ham. Okay.
and it was everybody. It was a brunch, but it was also a kind. I don't want to call it a potluck because it was nicer than that. But everybody contributed a dish. But it was well orchestrated. So there was a broccoli dish, and there was a pasta salad and all that. My
There's a
our
broccoli for brunch.
But yeah, because it was ham. It really, what we say brunch, it was lunch. There was no breakfast, anything there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, no. Ham was the entree. And so there was a broccoli casserole that was very good, potato salad, and our family did the dessert. And my wife made 4 different miniature desserts, some peanut butter mousse, which was
Okay.
delicious. She molested a strawberry in some sort of way with some cream, and it turned it out very good.
As long as she's
And
not molesting any peaches with cream, then we'll be okay.
so, and my personal favorite, the lemon bars. If
Yeah,
it's got lemon, I'm in.
yeah. Lemon is. It's got the. It's good when you have that kind of faint lemon taste, because obviously lemon's a little overpowering.
Yeah,
Or you
not
like the
faint.
full lemon,
Oh, full lemon, baby.
like a
They
meringue, like a lemon
No,
meringue.
I don't like them. I don't like the consistency of meringue. So this is bar lemon bar,
Yeah.
but they zested again. They molested all of these fruits. The lemon got zested, it got peeled, it got twisted, it got juiced. Like every morsel of the lemon that could possibly be sucked or squeezed out of this thing was in that bar.
Including the
So
nipple.
yeah, I mean, so starting with the tie-dye napkins, going through to the desserts, it was quite the affair.
Very, very progressive
Yeah,
especially for the area we live in.
right, absolutely. It was right on par
So
with the area we live
Grady Judd might be knocking on your door if too much of that goes on.
in. So then we were having a wonderful time, and family dynamics. One of the people at the party, they had moved in with their boyfriend, and the mother of this person, she found out a little late. um,
Oh,
so yeah, everybody else in the family knew, and and the mom didn't know until later, and so there was a little bit of tension around that, but there were no fireworks, just a little bit of, hey, how you doing, how's your commute to work, any shorter, any longer?
I'm sure the
Oh,
fireworks happened once everybody left.
yeah. I mean, that's what good families do. Or up in the Northeast, they just blow it out right there in front of everybody and then say, "Would you pass the marshmallows, please?"
Yeah, that's always awkward when you find yourself in those situations where there's just a blow up and you're just sitting there and it's like, all right,
Okay. So as long
do
as
I
they
make
don't
a
hit,
joke here?
as long as they don't hit each other, we're fine.
Right. Because
Um,
I've been in some situations where people are like full on verbal assaults with one another. And
right.
you're just like, it turned jovial to serious real quick. And I
But
don't know where to find myself.
and again, in the Northeast, I give them credit because they go back. Like it goes back to jovial pretty quick.
Well, yeah. Yeah, we get it out. Move on.
Is this your family dynamic?
Um, no, I don't remember any blow ups at family functions or anything.
You guys weren't living.
Well, we lived close to our immediate family, so everybody was so close anyway, so it wasn't any.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, family tension, it seems as though Israel and Iran, they are having a little family strife right now.
Yeah.
And your main man, Trump, has laid down the law on this, saying that there must be an unconditional surrender.
I saw.
So
He also said he's basically like, we know where you are, and if we wanted to kill you, we would do it. So,
I feel like I think he thinks he's in a Die Hard movie. like, like the term unconditional surrender just kind of has that, ring to it, Bruce Willis ring to it. But yeah,
yeah.
so
Well, if we find Trump climbing around the air ducts, we'll know. Running around barefoot in the White House.
No chance. uh, well, and when he's not, smoothing everything over, because he had to leave the G7 conference early to go smooth over the Iran issue,
Mm-hmm.
and Justin Trudeau, the head of France or Canada, I don't remember which.
What? Trudeau's gone now. It's
No, who was it?
it's some new guy now.
Who's the head of France? It wasn't Justin
Macron.
Trudeau. Yeah, Macron. Thank you.
Yeah.
Macron said when Macron was asked, so Trump's going to go work out a deal. Macron's response, no, he's not. they don't need him. So I think that was a little funny, and we'll see if Macron ends up having to pay for that.
Well, it's interesting. Maybe this is just my American exceptionalism coming out a little bit, but I always feel like, obviously, Trump has some things that we can criticize on a personal level, political level, but at the same time, like, France, what are you doing to secure anything? Like, what's going on?
This always goes back to Robin Williams. Robin Williams did a stand-up bit live on Broadway on HBO, and one of the funniest things he said that night was, you think of the French army, you can imagine a commander standing in front of his French troops saying, many of you men have never had to open champagne under fire.
Right. Yeah. Like, if the world comes to blows, no one's going to worry about where France is on the
Oh my God, we're just waiting for France to get here.
Right. Yeah, like Russia and Ukraine aren't waiting on France. Iran and Israel aren't worried about France. Although, I guess, do they protest people in France? I did see in Barcelona they do tourists protests. Now, have you seen these?
Oh yes, right.
Because they don't want the tourists to come over. Now, we have immigration, obviously, protests going on. So did you, obviously, you heard about the LA riots?
Yes, sir.
This year, 2025, we have to start putting years on these now.
Because No King riots.
No King riots, yeah. So one of my favorite stories that has come out of the LA situation, and I don't know if you heard this or saw this story or not, but one of the protesters was actually hit in his man parts with a rubber bullet. Did you see this?
No.
And it shattered one of them, and he had to have it removed.
No, I didn't. So I'm so sorry to hear that for him.
I find that, so I don't know why I find it funny, but
we're eighth graders. Yeah.
Right. I mean, regardless of what side he's on, it's funny. But it's funny that he has lost part of his manhood by protesting.
Somebody made the point, like, you are protesting immigration standing under a different country's flag. Like, doesn't that seem like you might be missing it?
I love that. Hey, I don't want you to send me back to Mexico, but I'm going to stand here with my Mexican flag.
Seems like you're into Mexico. Maybe I'm misreading this.
Yeah, I did see, before we came on here tonight, I was watching a clip from The View. I don't know if you're familiar with The View.
I was waiting for you to say Hot Tub Time Machine, but yes, I am familiar with The View.
I might have been better. But Arnold Schwarzenegger was on there, and he was talking, because obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's an immigrant. And The View, if you're familiar, they don't really like Donald Trump. I don't know if you knew this or not
Right.
about The View, but
The
they
show
don't
the
like Donald Trump,
show is filmed in New York.
right? And he came on and he said, as an immigrant, Americans embraced me so well, and this country gave me so much, and I created a life, a career, a family, and all this stuff, and it was so great. And then they were waiting for him to say something about like we need to let immigrants run free or whatever. But he's like, paraphrasing, he's like, I did it legally, and we have to do these things in a legal manner. So it's interesting too because I saw a CNN poll and it said the largest group demographic of voters that moved the farthest right over the last 4 years were legal immigrants. There's been a 40-point switch
They're
from
literally deporting your
blue to
voters.
red. Yeah. So it's like you had legal immigrants don't want illegal immigrants because they're like, we did it the right way. It's like my wife who paid off her student loans on her own, and then
And then
everybody
watch.
mine got paid off.
Well, that was predictable because being a teacher, there are special programs.
Yeah, but
My brother, okay, which I'm all about the teachers having a special program, and this was before I was a teacher. That makes perfect sense to me. If you're gonna hang out with kids all day, if you're gonna
we're giving a service back.
if you're gonna educate the future, right, you get a service back. My brother, who's a lawyer, I take a different stance on this issue. Like, he is sitting there crossing his fingers and his toes and everything else, and he's like, "Oh man!" And this was 3 or 4 years ago. He's like, "Man, I hope Biden really forgives these loans." I'm like, no one has pity on you. You went to law school. Give me a break. So I'm sorry for all you lawyers out there, but sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, well, I know a couple. I mean, one who was a lawyer, then went to teaching, and then got all that debt wiped out.
Now that's a strategy.
Yeah, I mean you're playing the game 4D chess,
right? And then he goes
as they
straight
call
back
it.
to legal as soon as he gets paid
Right.
off.
Oh, you know what? I feel like I got the itch for the law.
It's coming back to me. No, yeah, but he played that perfectly and got it forgiven and is rocking and rolling. Speaking of things getting forgiven, the judge did dismiss the $400 million defamation lawsuit against Blake Lively. So,
that one disappoints me. It
reputation
does.
sterling again.
I really wanted to. I don't want her to go down necessarily. My insiders tell me, my Hollywood insiders tell me that she's not the greatest person
Word
to deal with.
I'm going to be honest with you. Oh, yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds, I used to be a big Ryan Reynolds fan. And honestly, like, I'm not a fan any longer. And before this whole situation, like, once I started watching Wrexham, for a couple episodes,
you didn't like that?
I really got turned off on him because he just, the other guy, Rob McElhenney, he seemed much more real and down to earth, and he's highly successful too. So it's like, if he wanted to be a douche, he could. But he seemed much more normal and like you could go talk to him. But Ryan Reynolds, he seemed very like elitist Hollywood type to me. So I wanted to see this come out. I wanted to see this play out in the courts.
Yeah, it is. I did want to see. I did want to see it play out in the court because at one point I heard somebody saying that they felt like this guy had receipts for some of the claims that he was making. But so it's a little disappointing that obviously either the judge was bought or he didn't think so, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, that was my initial thought, was that the judge was bought.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry.
Because obviously, Ryan Reynolds, he's made so much money in so many different avenues. So, I mean, he's got his hands in a lot of things.
Right. Mint Mobile,
yeah.
I do like those commercials.
The Wrexham stuff. And then he's got a liquor, I think.
The fact that, he was able to get Wrexham to get promoted in the UK league.
Yeah.
That was a big deal right there. Speaking of other, possibly dubious voting nomination processes, Tom Cruise and Dolly Parton are set to receive honorary what?
Doctoral degrees?
No. Oscars. The Academy announced that action star Tom Cruise and country icon Dolly Parton will be honored with Lifetime Achievement Oscars this year.
I have no problem with Tom Cruise getting one.
How is he not? Like, what kind
But
of BS
how?
politics?
But what has Dolly Parton done?
First of all, how dare you?
Well, I mean, we're not talking the CMAs here. We're talking the Oscars. Like, she had a movie in like 1983 and a song that went along with it. What has she done?
Okay, now I'm going to use this as a moment to call back to our most recent episode where we had the amazing theme park Brandon on, where he explained to us, and if you haven't listened to it, you've got to go back. Theme park Brandon is a font of knowledge on everything theme park and roller coaster. He
It's
was
quite shocking.
he was throwing out terms that I had no idea what they meant, and I went, "Yeah, I sounds like a real doozy." And
You
what
didn't play
he
enough Roller Coaster Tycoon growing up.
that is true. I did get sucked into the Sim Tower, though. That was my jam.
Mm.
But he said that Dolly World is totally
Dollywood.
legit.
Dollywood.
That is what I said. And so I think that fans out there, this is also a good moment for us to encourage you. I mean, 20 minutes in, you're not listening, but let's just go for it. We need you to like and subscribe, because as soon as this thing gets monetized, I promise you, the first thing we're doing is taking a company trip to Dollywood, and we will live stream. So
yeah, we'll definitely do that. That's for sure. Yeah,
we're going to put a fundraiser thermometer on the website once we get that built, and tick, 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 tick. Once we get there, everyone's going to know that we're going to be going at you live from Dollywood.
450,000. Is that what we need?
I've heard that's a good number. So we're really going to go for it. And honestly, I did you ever see 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton, the movie?
No, but apparently it was good enough to get an honorary lifetime Oscar.
It is. Okay, so you can't talk until you've seen that, because I really did enjoy 9 to 5.
Okay, I'm fine. Okay, but one movie does not make a career.
Okay, how dare you? It's Dolly G.D. Parton.
So we talk about we're giving Tom Cruise and Dolly Parton the same award
in the same year.
In the same year. So that would imply that they have an equivalent career.
Listen, you don't gotta hang up a plane. He's just overworking the problem.
Maybe he is. Maybe that's the problem. That's true.
He's too committed. He's too focused. He's too serious about his craft. You just gotta dolly it up and bring a little sunshine.
Get some hot pants when you're 75 and
right.
Shake it on out. Wow.
If he called a few more people darling, he could have gotten there a lot quicker.
Well, to Tom Cruise's credit, he went from obviously into the stratosphere to being kind of, I don't want to say blacklisted, because he never was blacklisted, but definitely questioned for his decision making with his Scientology and his Oprah couch and Katie Holmes and all that stuff.
It would be fascinating. So the news was on this morning, and it was the national, like Good Morning America, but they played a local commercial from our local service here at Spectrum. And Spectrum was saying, hey, turn on Spectrum 485 to watch the Scientology channel. And I'm just like, first of all, does anybody actually do that?
Well, that one building in Clearwater, they do. It's probably the only channel they get.
And second of all, obviously Tom Cruise got, like you say, sucked into the Scientology black hole there for a little bit with the whole Katie Holmes thing and whatnot. But to his credit, as far as I know, he says nothing about Scientology. Like he does not openly advocate or support it.
No, I mean, the big thing that he got hit on during, I think it was when he was doing War of the Worlds with that Matt Lauer interview that kind of went viral when they were talking about antidepressants, and he was
I think I missed that.
Big against that. It's when he was like, Matt, you're glib. I've done the research. But anyway,
really?
If you haven't watched it, yeah, watch it. It's great.
Wow.
Because Scientology's whole argument, or one of their arguments, is that we need to establish the root cause of the problem instead of medicate it. So that's kind of what he was saying. And I mean, now people are kind of more on that train now, but this was probably 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago when it was still.
Chad, your shoulder clicks. It just clicks.
Right. Yeah. I've done the research.
I've done the research,
Kevin. You haven't. So, I mean, well, have you watched The Vow? Are you familiar with NXIVM?
Okay. I am familiar with NXIVM, and they
turned into a sex cult.
Yes, I am familiar with that.
See,
Oh, the
now,
Vow was the documentary they made about it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So much like Nixium and Scientology, I
Huh?
think at the core of a lot of these, we'll call, I don't want to call it a cult, we'll call it betterment
Community.
groups,
Yeah,
communities.
betterment
There we go.
groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like at the core, there are some good things that they're doing in terms of like self advocacy and self help. And like I said, understanding the problems and identifying the problems and treating it and how to like become a better person, all that kind of stuff. Like I could see myself very easily be pulled into that world.
Just
But
like,
the problem is
yeah, here we go.
when you have the leader who gets like, he starts thinking like, oh my God, I can get these people to do this. Let me see if they can do this, if I can do this. And then before you know it, you're playing volleyball at 2 a.m. every night. And then you're getting literally your skin branded with his initials and the weird stuff starts happening. But I think at the beginning, it's always, well, I found a way to make some money, but I can maybe help some people along the way. But then it's like, I become a god to these people, so I can do whatever I want.
Like so many things in life, the broad strokes are good. You're sitting in the air conditioned leather seat. You're smelling that new car smell. You're hearing the stereo. Everything sounds good. Those are the broad strokes. The details are when you get to the finance office.
Right.
Like
Right.
that's like the
Right.
Nexium. The broad strokes sound good, but when you start to read the fine print on some of the duty you got to pay in order to make this whole
Yeah.
thing happen, you're like,
Because the
wait a minute.
problem is once you start getting arrested and you start creating the sex cults, then all the positives that were possibly associated with it are just washed away. And then nobody wants to hear about it. And then it's you could have solved cancer or cured cancer, but because you're attached to this situation now, it's meaningless and we throw out the baby with the bathwater,
I went to
which is
two
unfortunate.
Jonestown meetings and no one listens to me anymore.
Right. But
I
at
didn't
the
go.
beginning, I'm sure there was something good there.
I didn't go to the last one, obviously.
Well, that's a good thing. You missed it to go to Heaven's Gate. But you showed up late to that one.
I had it. I had transportation issue.
Yeah.
Um,
But I
well,
think if for some people, like obviously there's value, and it's not just people that are down on their luck either. I mean, these are
oh,
obviously like
they had like NASA
Scientology pulls
scientists.
in major
Yeah, I was talking about,
celebrities.
but I know Nexium had like NASA, like literally rocket scientists in the group. But it feeds on sort of that primal insecurity. Here's another little tale that I have seen recently about maybe the details weren't quite reviewed as finely as they should have been. You remember your main man Shaq, Papa John's, Shackinator, Shackaroni. Remember
The
this?
general. Oh yeah,
The
the
general,
pizza.
yes, he is also the general. Shaq does everything. Well, Shaq had to he had to fork over about 1.8 million pepperonis in a settlement over FTX promotion lawsuit. Do you
Okay.
remember FTX as being a on ramp, if you will, to certain cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, that does sound familiar.
Yeah. Okay. So unfortunately, Shaq's like promoted the wrong thing, got to pay this money. Again, the fine print, the details got you caught up.
Sometimes you can say no, Shaq. If you're listening, you
You know
don't have
what?
to. You have to do all of it.
Okay, I'm with you. And I thought the same thing about Shaq. I'm like, this guy will literally do anything. But the general was when he started out in basketball and he actually didn't make any money, he needed car insurance. And they were the only ones that gave him car insurance and they were loyal to him. And he is, I mean, not that he's not getting paid, but the reason that he does it for sort of a budget or value product like that is because they had his back when he needed insurance when he was first starting out. And so that kind of like tells you the sweetness of Shaq all over again.
Well, I did see because during COVID they had that like Shack Life reality show,
Oh
and
man, I missed that
he
one.
was talking about like he only goes into these companies where he can try to like improve it.
Yeah,
So he's not just there to take the money.
right.
It's like something for him to do also, because he's on like the board of Papa John's now. Because after
Yeah.
they got rid of their founder,
And he owns like 10% of it. Yeah. Like
yeah,
he's not just a face for the Papa John's people. Well, but the FTX, the crypto lawsuit that he found himself involved in reminds me of I went to go see Nikki Glazer last week And did you watch the Tom Brady roast?
I did.
One of the best quips on that entire, Nikki Glazer was the best at that roast, bar none.
Yeah,
And one,
that really put her on the map for people that wouldn't have otherwise known who she was.
absolutely. And one of her best lines of the night was her saying, Tom, guess you had to pay $30 million in that crypto scam. Even Gronk went, me no, this isn't real money.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, Nikki did that on stage, and it was hilarious. So listen, it can happen to Tom, it can happen to Shaq. Sometimes, if you do enough commercials, you're going to do a bad one.
Yeah, you think they would have people insulating them from that, but I guess
Yeah,
they're all. It's hard to say no
doesn't always work out the way.
to money being thrown at us. If you're out there listening, you want us to represent one of your products.
And we would be
We're more than
happy to allow you to sponsor this segment tonight. So, I don't know what that is. Okay. Well, our main man Shaq got himself into a little bit of a pickle, but he is out now. And Tom Brady, I am a Patrick Mahomes fan, but I am willing to concede that Tom Brady is very good.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady's got really everything going for him in life. And to his credit, it's not like he just showed up and it happened. Like he had to work super hard. And I was actually, what was I watching the other day? It was something about like, what's your superpower or something. And he was talking about the Super Bowl with the Bucks and the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, my superpower is that I know exactly what they're going to do before they're going to do it because I'm so prepared. Like
Wow.
I could see like the way their shoulders were turned, they're going to drop into this coverage, they're going to blitz on this play. So he said every play I knew what their defense was going to do, and then I just put my people into position. So he said, I'm obviously not the strongest arm, I'm the fastest guy, I'm not the most athletic, but I know what's going to happen all the time, so I can use my skill set the way it needs to be used because I'm prepared.
The thing I love about that story is in the society that we live in, where all you ever see is the 10-second TikTok video of the guy in his Ferrari or, on a cruise boat or, on a yacht or whatever, you always see the result of effort. And a lot of times it's just pure BS. Like, oh, nice. You leased the Ferrari for the day. Like they don't even know that you're on that yacht. You're about to get kicked off. They don't know you're
right
there.
Yeah 10 seconds later on that video are
right.
the police.
Yeah, right. You're smiling as they're running towards you just so you can get the shot. But what it demonstrates is what you get is for all that time and work that you put in when nobody's looking. Nobody knows that you're doing it. You're Tom Brady. You're sitting in your basement. You're sitting at the stadium. You're doing something that is work. I mean, like, we obviously admire all of the physical hits and the receptions and the interceptions and all of the wild physical feats that they do. But for the QB, it is the completely dull, unexciting work that 100% pays off. I love that story.
Yeah, because you see guys that show up that don't do it.
Right.
And they don't make it.
Right.
Because there are 5 million guys out there that can fling a football, but there's 32 of them that can look at a defense and figure out what's in. Probably not even 32. There's probably 14 really good quarterbacks that can process the information and do what they need to do. That's why they also get paid $50 million
right
a year to do it.
Absolutely. So, and I think that all of this says that we're pretty excited for football to start again.
Yeah, I've been watching the UFL, which just ended, but yeah, it's time to come back.
To be honest with you, I don't even let myself. I get frustrated. I don't even watch preseason because preseason it's filmed practice. Like you're never going to play the best people. We're playing at 75% speed. Like. Maybe if you are a deep analyst or you have a huge ego, you think, oh, I'm watching this and now I know exactly how they're going to do for the season. Okay, good for you. But tell me when they're at full speed, full contact on game one. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I agree. I do watch Hard Knocks, whoever's on
I
that.
love that show.
That is one of my faves.
And I'll watch any team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was disappointed this season they didn't do the off-season one because the Giants screwed the pooch so poorly last year because they filmed the whole we're going to let Saquon Barkley walk, and then he got signed with the Eagles, and then they won the Super Bowl. He rushed for
Whoops.
2,000 yards, and that was all on film. So no team wanted to go through that again. But somehow that guy didn't, the GM didn't lose his job, which is crazy because we all watched how it unfolded, and he still
My
kept his
favorite
job.
my favorite famous last words, what's the worst that can happen?
Right. It's
We'll let
funny
those.
because in that sequence where they're talking, the owner comes in. He's like, I'm not gonna be able to sleep if he goes to a division rival and rushes for 2,000 yards." And then sure enough,
That guy
and
hasn't
it was
slept
over
since.
like $2 million or something, like $3 million over like 3 years. It was just ridiculous. Like, are you kidding me?
Right. Right.
Which sounds stupid in real life terms, but in NFL, $3 million is nothing.
This is a topic for another day, but I am 100% in support of the notion that billionaire owners of football teams can pay for their own stadiums. Like,
Mm,
you do not need to levy and put into debt the municipalities. I'm not saying that they don't participate in terms of the economic benefit of having a team there. Of course that they do, but let's not act like it's all one-sided. Like, these people need a place to play as well. So, I mean, just pay for your stadium. What other business are they like, "Oh yeah, we'll pay for all your, plant and equipment, no problem." And then you just come in here and run the thing. Like, no.
yeah, it's a weird situation too because you're only getting 8 games a year,
Yeah, of
so you're
economic
paying
impact.
right, and so and the problem too is that these stadiums are ridiculous now. They have to be these like media
Cathedrals.
centers. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're not just a stadium anymore.
right,
So they're billions of dollars.
right. Shoved onto the taxpayers.
Right.
All right,
And then if they don't do it, then they threaten to leave
I know,
and relocate.
and in some cities that makes sense. Like the fact that they left Oakland. Yeah, right.
Everybody left Oakland.
But if you're
Every major team left.
Los Angeles, I'd be like, leave, leave.
Right.
Like where
Which they
you're
have multiple times.
gonna.
LA's had teams come and go
But
over the
listen, they're
years. Now
back,
they have two
baby.
again.
They're
Right.
back.
In a
Yeah,
major stadium.
exactly. All right. Well, this has been fun, and I think that we are going to wrap up with a summer theme here. Top five list. I think top five signs that you're having a very American summer. We've heard about, you brought up earlier how they're protesting the tourists, so let's just focus on the American summer. Number five, you've had 3 cookouts, 1 sunburn, and 0 working air conditioners.
Oh,
It's not summer
the
until someone tries to grill ribs on a $30 Walmart pit.
let me backtrack for the air conditioner. So I grew up in Pennsylvania, which you don't think is very hot,
Yeah.
but we also did not have air conditioning
Uh-huh.
my entire childhood.
That's not possible.
So at night when it's humid and there's no airflow, like it is bad news. And I remember one year,
Like, did you guys not hear that it had been invented or what?
remember last week or 2 weeks ago when I said we couldn't use the AC in the car? Do you think we're going to use it in the house? We couldn't use the heat in the winter either. We all had electric blankets, which was probably more or less cost efficient than the furnace. But anyway,
Nowadays, you would get taken from the home. Like, social
yeah,
services would come.
for sure. So I remember one year, I was late teens, maybe out of high school, and it was either a bicycle, like I could get a bike. It had to be in high school because it was like a report card reward. And I said, "Can I just not get a bike and let's just get an air conditioner instead?" So I gave up my bike to
Did they
get the
get you one?
AC.
They got
We
it?
got the AC. We got the AC upstairs. Yeah,
Those are not equivalent purchases.
but it was. Oh my god! I remember those summer nights. Then the kids outside be bouncing the stupid basketball all night long or revving their stupid cars. God, sweating, sheets
Oh,
sticking to you.
that's crazy. That
Yeah.
is nuts.
But if we went to Florida, we stayed at the nicest hotels for 2 weeks, but we couldn't get air conditioning.
Those two things might have had
Always
something to
had
do
new
with each other.
cars.
That you couldn't run the AC in.
Right.
Oh gosh. Number 4 for your American summer. Your body is now 40% popsicle and 60% bug spray.
I do remember the push pops. I used to love the push pops, like the
Yeah.
frozen.
Yes, I do. I'm a big supporter of like the pure juice popsicle sticks now. Like they're out because they're healthier, but honestly, they just taste really good. Like you can get some really good. And I know you like what was the red, white, and blue one that went up?
With the rocket pop.
Yeah, like the rocket pop that was pure sugar and dye.
Yeah, we used to get the convenience store next to the house used to sell like a 3-foot icy thing with the push-up thing, and it was a quarter. I mean, this was like 1990, but I remember the kids would go up and get one of those, and those were always good on a nice. Or they had the ice cream on a stick that were shaped like the Ninja Turtle head,
Oh
and
yes, I had one of those.
and the eyeballs were gumdrops.
Yes, they were so
But you
good.
took them out, and they were like a deformed version of them. They never looked like the package.
When you got at the end of that story, I thought you were about to say the good old days and like turn into a boomer right in front of us.
I've been accused of being a boomer many times, so I'm getting there.
Number 3, you've joined 3 new group texts titled Lake Trip, but no one knows whose boat you're actually using. I like that. Especially from the Midwest, like the lake was a big thing. We'd always go down to the Lake of the Ozarks, and yeah, everyone was like Lake Trip, Lake Trip. Number 2, your beach pics are fire, but only because your thighs stuck to a vinyl chair and you couldn't get up. I think that being Florida residents, we're a little bit more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Number 1,
sure.
This may not have actually applied to your family at all. I might have to explain this one to you. Number 1, you've screamed, "Shut the door, we're not cooling the whole neighborhood," at least twice.
Well, when the air conditioner was on.
Right. Then it was a big deal.
Or when the heat was on. Yeah. Space heaters. We had space. So when I was a kid, I remember this. This is one of those core memories as a kid. I was at my grandma's in the kitchen, and she had a space heater, but it kind of looked like R2-D2.
Yeah.
Where it's just like an open coil on top.
Right. They don't make those anymore.
No. And because of the reason I'm about to tell. And I'm running around as a kid would do with cowboy boots, because that was a thing in the early 80s. And I slid on her linoleum floor, and the only thing that braced my fall was the coils.
Oh.
And I put both hands on these things.
Oh. Yeah.
Had to go to the doctor, get them all wrapped up.
Morgan and Morgan.
Yo. Yeah, I would have owned Grandma's house today.
We would have had air conditioning.
Yeah.
All right, Chad. I think that this has been good. Anything else for the main men tonight?
No, if you made it to the 43-minute mark, thank you.
Yeah,
subscribe.
We love you.
Watch the old stuff. It's all good.
All right, and we'll be back next week. Be good.